One of the sort of labels that a lot of people gave themselves after they'd been in the employ of Harry and Meghan was that band, the Sussex Survivors Club. And I know I've often said this, but it's a strange thing to me because I see two sides of it, right? I have worked with many people like Meghan Markle. And, they think the world owes them a living. They think they're the most important person on the planet. And you just come across and think, wow, I remember, shall we put this nicely, an altercation with Jennifer Aniston that I myself had while interviewing her in the Dorchester Hotel. We won't go into too many details because I'm a gentleman, but the bottom line was that somebody sent me in the room, without sort of warning her. I got no idea. And, she was plugging some movie or other, I can't remember what now. And the thing was, she hit the roof. And I realized that, there's a persona of that, and then there's the persona of what they're putting out. And really, when you see these celebrities, they are so anxious, nervous, worried, concerned about their latest movie, product, branding, whatever, because they believe everything's going to stop. Now, what's fascinating about this is somebody like Prince Harry, of course, is not a celebrity. He was born into the world of celebrity, and people have been fascinated ever since the late and beautiful Princess Diana announced the pregnancy, right? Everybody knew who he was. Now, what's interesting is, as I told you the other day, he feels very, very much alone out in Montecito. Forget the smiles, forget the concerts. This is a guy that literally is now living with regret. Whatever people think, it's a huge regret on his part, because it's things like this, as I told you, the Grand Master Order, the Grand Order Master or whatever, sorry, I get my teeth in, but the sort of thing, that really sort of resonates because it's a world that it's things like Troop in the Colour, Remembrance Sunday. Those are the pinpoints in that royal diary. It was wonderful, for instance, to see the King at the Chelsea Flower Show along with the Queen. I remember going to that and seeing Queen Elizabeth, and it was just, just really nice because it's the moments of the royal calendar. Now, according to a very well-placed source, Harry is desperate to get communication back, particularly with his elder brother, Prince William. So much so, I can tell you first and exclusive on the show that Harry has sent a congratulatory letter along with a card over to his elder brother. Now, you might think this is odd, but this is the only way they can communicate. There's no mobiles because Meghan has changed the mobiles on a number of occasions. She doesn't want people to be able to catch her or indeed find her. What happens in the world of Meghan and Harry, particularly her, let me tell you, is each time she falls out with somebody, the number has to go because consequently they can't get a hold of her. This is really what's happening. Now, Harry's only way of communicating, and it sort of reminds you of those old films, doesn't it, where they're throwing a letter through the window, the sort of thing I mean. This is the way that Harry is now trying to win back at least some kind of courtesy call, etc. Well, good luck to that, Harry, because I would suggest that, of course, the Prince of Wales, Prince William, doesn't really want any of it. He's desperately moved on. The only downside to it all, when you think about it, is, well, sadly, Prince Harry hasn't. And as I pointed out the other day, he watches all of these huge royal events literally back in his house in Montecito. Meghan's totally disinterested, according to a staff member, but he loves it and really wants his kids to be involved. But they're not involved because they don't know anything about it. They don't know what they're connected to. When those kids get a little bit older, it's going to be fascinating as to how they develop and what they will think, perhaps, to their parents, keeping them away from such a rich, colourful and historical heritage. Anybody else agree? Meanwhile, obviously, Harry is literally probably singing, "Please wait, Mr. Postman." You could have a long wait though, right? Neil Sean, Kensington, London.